I'm not hearing anything.
Step in, lean in, mic on, and begin. Hey! Been quiet too long, chewed up tongue, turned down songs, clock keeps ticking on the wall. But your name's still missing from the roll call. Let your voice be heard, say every single word, from the low notes to the sky. Throw hands up high. Let your voice be heard, loud, clear, undeterred. You got a light, buddy?
Yeah, sure, kid. There you go.
And your wallet.
Nick, give him your wallet.
If it shakes the room, that's how you know it's you, yeah. Oh, yeah. You got a truth tucked deep in your chest, heartbeat tapping out, say it, confess. Crowd might stare, let them do what they do. They never held a fire living in you. Let your voice be heard, say every single word, from the low notes to the sky. Throw your hands up high. Let your voice be heard, loud, clear, undeterred. If it shakes the room, that's how you know it's you, yeah. Speak up, name your dream out loud. Stand up, you're the leader of this crowd. One spark, one shout, watch the silence melt. Power in your mouth is the truest thing you found. Let your voice be heard, say every single word, from the low notes to the sky. Throw your hands up high. Let your voice be heard, loud, clear, undeterred. If it shakes the room, that's how you know it's you.
Again, let me start over. My name's Cloyd Holmes. I am the visionaire, CEO of Man Up Ministry, Inc., and the host of Let Your Voice Be Heard Talk Radio. I want to apologize and ask you guys to forgive me for the technical difficulties that we've had starting this show. Every time there's going to be an awesome guest or an awesome show here, something happens to try to deter it. But there's so much value in what we're going to hear about tonight that it was worth the wait, worth the, getting the difficulties taken care of. Most of you guys here on the panel know the guests that we have and the type of stories and encouragement of knowledge that we entertain on this show. Tonight is something a little different. This lady that we have on here tonight is full. Not that all the rest of our guests aren't, but this lady here she's something special. And I only talked to her for a brief period of time, and I had to cut her off. I stopped because there's no way that I can retain all the knowledge that she's giving out. And again, I didn't have my notebook at the time. Usually when I'm talking to somebody with the wealth of knowledge that she has, I'm taking notes, whether she knows it or not. As I told the coaches that come on here, coaches that we interviewed on here, when I'm talking to them, if they saw the notes that I had, they probably would send me a bill afterwards. But because I'm learning as we go. This lady that we have here tonight, her name is, and don't get mad at me, her name's Dorothy. But she don't want to be called Dorothy. We know her. Well, we don't know her yet, but we're going to know her. And once you've been on Let Your Voice Be Heard Talk Radio, once you've been on this show once, and you come back, which I know you'll be back several times because there's no way we're going to get through your story tonight. You become family. You are family. So I'll feel very comfortable calling you Dottie. I don't want to insult you and call you Dottie. You're like, hey, you don't know me like that, you know. But you did tell me that Dorothy's your name, but you prefer Dottie. Yes, ma'am. So Miss Dottie Herman. Dottie, I'm going to say this before I turn this over to you. I want I don't even know how to introduce you because me personally, I want to know your story, but I want to know your story from the beginning. I want to know you have done so much, and you talked about numbers that I can't even imagine. And so when someone is telling me about the type numbers you're talking about and the things that you did and how you did it, I'm not going to give your story away of how you did something that I can't even imagine how how you I don't want to say I don't use the word tricked, but you told some people that you would, and this is just briefly talking to you. You told some people that you would buy a property from them or something from them worth millions of dollars, yet you only had $1,000 in your bank account, and you ended up buying that company. Unmute or turn your sound up, Daddy, because I can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. I think that you're muted or there's no muted there. I think you might have turned the sound up. Listen, the powers that be do not want this to be heard. Well, we're gonna hear this tonight. We're gonna hear this. I don't care what we got to do. We're gonna hear this. I want to hear this. You're still muted. We can't hear you. Can anybody else hear her? No, nobody else can hear you either. I can't hear you.
It's the microphone.
It's the microphone. We still can't hear you, Daddy. Now you muted. Okay, now you're unmuted, and we still can't hear you. That's strange. Hmm. What about? And I'm just guessing. I don't know. What about logging out and logging back in? Maybe that would do it. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing, guys. Let's see what happens. If that works, I'm turning to the IT guy for his voice be heard. Okay, all right. Two people in waiting. Let's see here what we got. Okay, I see you. Still can't hear you. I see you. Still can't hear you. Um,
I
Well, you don't want on phone.
no, the phone won't ring. If that works. Can you hear her?
No, but I don't.
Hey, hey, will you look at that? Hey, Dottie, we hear you.
Oh, you hear me?
Yeah. We hear you
Wow.
clear. Wow. I don't know.
Okay, you gotta make that bigger now.
Listen, I don't know what that was all about. But
I don't know either, but
we're grateful that you are here. Excuse me. We're grateful that you're here. As I was stating that you are a plethora of knowledge on, get this one, panel, real estate. This lady is
no,
awesome. Go
I
ahead.
would
Come
say
on.
real estate, but I would say I grew a big business.
You
I
grew
would
a
say
big business.
a huge business. So it was, it
Wow.
happened to be a real estate business. And so I know
Right.
plenty about real estate.
Right.
I would say my specialty is building businesses.
Okay. Well, listen, that works for me. I just want, all I want to know, I want to know your story. I know from talking to you briefly, I wouldn't have made the show if we'd have kept going, because you have so much to talk about, so many things that you've done. I don't know about the ups and the downs. It all seemed like ups to me when I was speaking to you.
Nothing in life is all ups.
well, nothing in life is all ups, but sometimes, I mean, what you doing in your business, we spoke briefly, so I didn't hear about the downs, but if they were there, I'm sure we're going to get to them, because here on Let Your Voice Be Heard, we're going to dissect your life, because it is interesting. I want to hear about your story. I want to hear first, how did you come about this? Before your business, what motivated you to even think about doing something? Because you did tell me that you didn't grow up in the special, like you didn't have a silver spoon handed to you.
Not at all.
Okay, so there was something that had to motivate you to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Give us some of that.
Well,
Everyone, this is Miss Dottie Herman.
I grew up at a time where I wanted to be a teacher, but my mom died when I was 10. We were in a severe car accident, and we were all injured badly. I was thrown out of the car, and I had epileptic attacks where I would be unconscious, and I could have killed myself every second of the day because I didn't know when I was going to get sick, and I would lose consciousness and everything. So, but I swore to myself, and because my mom wasn't alive, because I certainly wouldn't have let a child of mine do what I did if they were sick like me. But I said, I'm not letting this interfere in my life. And I swam. I'm a great swimmer. I swam in the ocean. I ran for everything in my class. I didn't let the sickness stop me.
Mhm.
I don't let things stop me when I'm determined to do them. And I'm not religious, but I would say I'm spiritual. And I would always think, my mom's probably watching. And every time I was like going in like a wrong direction a little bit, I think, my mother's probably really upset turning in her grave. So I wanted her to be proud of me, and I'm ambitious. And I was the oldest of
Okay.
3 kids. My dad was driving the car, so he was kind of out of it. I always say, because I'm writing a book, the day my mom died, I lost my dad also, because he was driving, and so he felt responsible, even though it wasn't really his fault. To make a long story short, my father was a sanitation man. I grew up in a very middle class area that I will never forget the people, because they all made breakfast and they would set my hair. And if I would go to their house and knock on their door at midnight and say, "Oh, somebody broke up with me," they would get out of bed, open their doors, and let me come in and cry. And I never forgot those people, because they didn't do it for fame. They didn't do it for anything. For recognition. They did it just because they were good people. So I had a lot of mothers along the way. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to teach, but then I got married and had a child at 19. So that didn't last, that marriage, more than a year or two, and he didn't give me any support. And I thought, well, teaching isn't going to cut it. I went to school at night and finished up. I became a certified financial planner. And I was working to do real estate because I had to make extra money. I was, my husband, the father of my daughter, never gave me $1 of child support. So, and I didn't have a father who could help me, so I was on my own.
Well, when you say working to do real estate, what do you mean by that? Because
I actually sold it.
Oh, okay. You started selling real estate.
Well, because I was going to school. I got certified as a financial planner, and I was finishing my degree up because I had my daughter at 19. So I had to finish at night, and I had to work, and I had a baby, and I didn't have the money to have childcare. So I took her a lot with me, and I eventually paid my father's wife I wasn't allowed to tell him, but she said, "If you want me to watch your daughter while you work, then you'll buy me a car and you'll never tell your father and you'll pay the car payments." And there I was, 19, 20 years old, paying for school, paying for the stepmother's car payments. And, but I was just going to make it. And I ended up somehow, I started doing real estate just on the side for extra money, because you don't have to have set hours.
As a broker. As
a broker. And then I told my boss, as soon as I'm done with certified, I get my certified, my Series 8, and I get certified in financial planning, I am out of here. I'm going to be a certified financial planner. And when I finished and graduated, I went there to tell him I'm gone. And he said to me, "Don't leave." I said, "Well, I'm leaving." He said, No. I'm selling my company to Merrill Lynch. And with your background, real estate, and you have financial background, you'll be a home run. So I had read in a book, and believe it or not, they had books in those days because we didn't have the internet. And it said, if you want to get ahead in this world, don't go, go where the people who make the decisions are. Okay? You're better off, you have to be where the people who make, and so I found out where the head guy from Merrill Lynch was, which was in California. I really didn't have money, but I saved my money. I flew to LA. I barged into the office. I had no appointment, nor would he have given me one. I was a nobody. And the head of all of Merrill Lynch doesn't give even the people that work for him a long time appointments. And the secretary said, "Well, you don't have an appointment." I said, "Well, maybe when he comes out." And when she went to the ladies' room, I just barged into his office. And he kind of looked at me shocked. And then I said, "Well, I read in a book that if you want to get ahead in this world, you got to meet the top guy, and you're the top guy." And then he just smiled. That's how it started. So Merrill Lynch had just decided to get into the real estate business, and they were buying companies all over the country, the United States. And I got my first job. I became a regional manager of the Northeast region. I was probably about, 24, 25. And I did that. I loved my job. I ran 4 or 5 states with a few other people. And then one day, Merrill announces we're selling, they're a public company. They announced we're selling the company. We don't want to be in real estate anymore. I thought I would die. I love that job. I love Merrill. And I love them because what they did is they said the assets of their company were their employees. And I never forgot that. And so if they believed in you, they sent me all over to learn, to take courses. And in those days, real estate was very local. You were you had a little store there. You were in a few things in the town, but it wasn't national. Merrill was the first national real estate company. So they flew me all over, and I saw that real estate was done very differently depending on where it was. And when it comes to real estate, the Northeast is very less progressive than the West Coast. So I learned a lot. Now Prudential, it takes a year for them to sell it. They sell it to Prudential. And right away, I see a difference. The Merrill guys are sharp, very well dressed, very cool. And the Prudential guys had scuffed shoes on, kind of cheapish shoes. And they say, you know what? We don't want to own a national company. We don't believe in it. We think real estate is local. And therefore, we're going to franchise this company. We're going to franchise the United States. And your job, Dottie, and everybody else that was there, you just keep the company together until we find a buyer. So there I am. I'm going to lose my job. I just had to keep the company together till I buy a buyer. And I was in the Northeast region. They sold everything. They sold Connecticut. They destroyed Jersey. They cut it too much. And to make a long story short, I was 20-something years old. Somebody said, well, why don't you buy? And I said, because I have no money. They said, well, just tell them you do. And again, that's the beauty of being young. I said, well, that's not a bad idea. I will. And some of the women's husbands came in. We wrote a business plan. I said, I have venture capital money. I'm ready to buy it. I can buy Long Island. I think it was 28 million or something of that nature. I'm ready to go. P.S. I didn't have $1. I had $1,000, I think. To make a long story short, I convinced them to sell me the company. No money down, no personal guarantees.
Wow.
Nothing. And working capital.
Wow.
I needed working capital also. And to make this story short, because there's other people I'm sure who want to speak, when I decided to buy the city, because half my customers for the Hamptons are from the city, I cold called, and those are selling skills I learned in selling. I cold called Andrew Farkas, who ran a company called Insignia and owned the largest real estate company, which was Douglas Elliman. And I said, would you sell your company? He wasn't for sale. I just said, would you sell your company? He said, for $75 million, I will. And I won't even let anyone outbid you. I said, well, you're going to have a deal. And I called up Prudential. And I was always smart enough to be in good standings with the companies I worked for and make sure I knew all the right people that were making decisions. I learned that at Merrill. And so I said, we could have the biggest company in the city. I just need $75 million. They flew in. It was at 9/11, so we were expecting our second terrorist attack. And of course, we'd be negotiating and be orange alert, red alert, to make a long story short, they let me $75 million. I needed 85 or something like that. So I had to bring another partner in and I had to give him 50%, but I did because anything to have the company. And I bought Douglas Elliman for $85 million. No money down, no personal guarantees.
Wow.
Now, I know everyone says that is unheard of. It would never happen now. Well, it wouldn't happen then either. I always tell people I learned a big lesson. The worst that can happen is someone says no.
That's right. That's right.
And most people are afraid of the word no. And when someone says no, because they originally said, no, we can't lend you the money. But I didn't let that stop me. I kept on bugging them and telling them how much I would make them money because they would get the franchise fee. So that's my story. And then, of course, I took Douglas Elliman to a whole other level. I opened up in 30 states all the time, and so be it.
Well, that's a small piece of your story. You scratching the surface, Dottie. You're not gonna do that to us. I'm not gonna allow you to do that to us. You scratching the surface. There's much, much more to your story because where you're at today, there's so much that has happened from today, from that point to today. We want to know about all of that. I want to hear about. We want to hear about that because you are a very unique success story. You bought a company, and that's crazy. You're right. It is unheard of. You bought a company with no money for
Let me say that.
$85 million.
Yes. They call it breakage. When you buy a company and someone new buys it, there's a certain amount of people that just leave because the owners change. And so when I flew in, it was St. Patty's Day, the day after St. Patty's Day, to tell them I bought the company. I said I put everything I have. I took loans of everything that I've ever worked for, everything I have, my houses. And the old CEO said, "You idiot. Now they know you don't have any money. They're not going to stay." And then I said, I I really need you guys to help me. I really need you. And he goes, "Idiot, idiot, idiot," the CEO. Well, let me tell you this. I needed them. And without them, I wouldn't be sitting here now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I needed them, they helped me. And they helped me build this company brick by brick. And to all the people at Douglas Elliman, from the people that were 80 years old to the people that were new, I would never have made it without the help of all the people that were around me. And that's the truth.
Well, you had to have the gumption to ask for help like that. To ask these people for help because the people you're describing gonna do just what you just said. You idiot. That's what I was expect from them.
And then I built a mortgage company because I said, let me have everything that a person needs when they buy a home. So number one, they need a mortgage. And I had done that on Long Island because when I worked for Merrill Lynch, they had a mortgage company. So I knew how to integrate that. And I brought a mortgage company in, our own. And I had built a rental company. I built, I built and I built a title company. So everything you need, it was one-stop shopping. Anything you need, we had.
Wow.
And that took me a bunch of, let's say 5 years. And I didn't lose one. Now that might not sound like a lot to anybody, but that is a major achievement. I didn't lose one person, not one.
Wow.
However, I got lucky because at the time that I bought Douglas Elliman, Barbara Corcoran had just left her company. She sold it. And she sold it to, I think it was Rheology then. And the people at Corcoran loved her. And they didn't like the new girl that came in to run it. So I was lucky. I'd love to tell you I cold called and made all these phone calls to get these people, but I didn't. I would tell you within a couple of months, I must have had 150 people from Corcoran who left because they loved Barbara and she wasn't there. So that got lucky. And then I cared about them. And I built a team and I built culture. And I think that culture in a company is so important. And I think a lot of people miss that.
Wow. Yep. Right now I have some questions, but I see a couple of hands up, so I'm gonna take a couple questions from the panel. Lazaro, I see you have your hand up. You had your hand up for a while there. I don't know. Yeah, there you go.
Yes, hello.
Yeah.
I like growing people. And that's what I did. I opened up DE University at Douglas Elliman, which was where they could get free courses and things. I also sent many of them. I paid for my management team. I paid for the top producers. I brought courses in, and I had learning activities, roundtables. I took education, brought it into the company. Okay. And then after every course that they took, and after I did 3 or 4 day seminars where we'd all have dinner afterwards. Sometimes we'd stay for a couple of days, and then they would get to know each other more than just people that worked together. They really got to know each other and bonded. And I built a family. So whether you went to Florida, because I opened up in Florida, I opened up LA, wherever you went, you felt connected to a family, and it's hard to leave a family. And I think I could, anybody that worked with me in my days, I will tell you it was a family.
Thank you so much. I hope that answered your question. Grenade. Does that pronounce that right? Did I say that right? You're muted, brother. You're stuck on mute.
I hear them.
Ask Dottie what she did to get off of that. Oh, here you go. You're off mute, but you still can't hear you. Okay. We see, keep working with that. We gonna get to you, man, because you're unmuted, but we can't hear you. But there is a question from Leah Amore in the chat that says, "How do you know when the risk is worth the reward?"
That's a good question. That's really a good question, I think. I can only tell you my opinion. I was passionate about doing this. I was willing to risk whatever I had. But that's because I was so passionate. And in my mind, I believed I could do it. Like, if I didn't think I could do it, I'm good with people. I'm good with organizing people. And I was so passionate about it. And I think that's contagious. If I wasn't passionate about it, I couldn't have been great. And I don't know that I would have ever done it. I loved it that much. This opportunity to me meant the world. And I would have risked I risked everything I had. And I was lucky I was married then. And my husband was an attorney, and we didn't really buy a house. So he went along. I had a supportive spouse who didn't have a lot of money because we took everything we had and put it into the company.
Very good. Very good. Thank you very much. TC, Tony Curtis, I see you have your hand up.
Hi, Dottie. How are you?
I'm good.
Oh, look, this inspires me. Like, I love when you describe what it was like to take the risk. It was like, you know what? We just gonna go for it and see what happens. And I have been building my practice around allowing people to understand that the only limiter is yourself, right? What you can conceive of with your mind, you can't create.
I heard you so much. Some people don't get that.
And it's like you spoke about something that in the beginning when you talked about your dad losing your mom and what that did to him and then what it made you do, right? You ended up becoming that person that took care of everyone in your family.
I did. I was oldest. I did.
So like when I hear it, I talk about these journeys with women to kind of help them overcome whatever obstacle they're in that moment. And it resonates with me because a lot of people don't know this because I'm a maternal health expert. I'm an expert in women's health. My degrees are in business. My first opportunity came from American Express. They allowed me to train as a financial advisor when I was 18 years old.
But what you're doing is you're making a difference in life. And To me, at the end of the day, you can't take money with you, but if you can make a difference in some people's lives, it's all kind of what it's about.
It's layering in that calling
Yeah,
that
that's
allowed you
wonderful.
to hear your voice. So I'm just inspired. I needed to say it out loud. I absolutely
you.
love it.
Thank you.
It is.
And if I could ever do anything to help you, just call on me.
Thank
It
you.
is inspirational for us all. I'm sure this is. I told you, Dottie, this is good stuff, and it's going to take a minute for us to really get to the bottom of all of this stuff. Um, this is encouraging. It's encouraging. I want to know. I want to know. You said you were writing a book.
Yes.
When will it be out, and when can we get it? How can we get it? Because I want the first copy.
Well, I'm doing a book and I'm not a great writer. I will tell you that. So I'm going to have to someone redo it. But the whole idea of the book is it's chapters of what I did that's right. And was like what I wanted to be is lessons learned.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, there were many things I did wrong. And you don't learn if you don't make mistakes.
Right.
So I want people to be able to say, wait a second, I can do this also. Look what she did. And also to show that, hey, because a lot of people give up when things go wrong. I ran out of money. I didn't know how I was going to even. I'll never forget. I called up everybody in the company. I made an announcement. I said, don't cash your checks. I don't have the money to cover them. Okay.
But you
No. So it'll be, it'll probably, well, I would say another 6 months, 8 months. I haven't been on top of it as much as I should be, but it's really going to be lessons learned. So that each chapter, there's a lesson I learned, whether it was a good lesson from something I did right or a lesson from something I did really wrong. Because I think when you make mistakes, that's how you learn.
Well, we really want. We really want to hear about it. I want to know about it, and
I'll keep you posted.
I want to be. Yeah, I want to be the first one to get a copy of it, and I need you to sign it for me. But because the lessons that you've learned, and I want to hear your thinking. I want to hear your thinking because I pray that this thinking and these things that you went through to be successful is contagious. I want to know about them things because I want to start negotiating for 85 and $75 million companies and stuff. I'd like to do that at one day. So I need to know how you think, what brought you to all of this stuff. And you said 6 months. You're gonna be around. I know you're gonna be here with us.
I'll be around.
You're gonna be here with us.
I'm more than glad to give back any advice for free. I don't want money for it. I will be glad to do that for you guys. Anyone.
Yes. We thank you for that. You definitely going to be around. We have some other questions. I see Tony. You have your hand up. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you, bro. Let me see. Ganaj he's been trying to get a question in, and his question is, he says he has plenty of friends in your background. How has this affected your commitment for the past 30 or 40 years?
I'm not sure what he's asking me. As many friends with my background?
I'm not sure either. Ganaj, you says I have plenty of friends in your background. How has this affected your commitment for the past 30 or 40 years? I'm not sure of the question. And I don't think Dottie's sure of it either.
Yeah, no, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. How has this affected your community?
My community? I'm a community. Okay. I like people. I learn from people. I learn from people who are smarter than me. I learn from people who are not as smart as me. I'm always in the center of things, and I grow from everyone. I think you can always grow, and I love to learn. I'm on the board of a university that I went to, Delphi, and everyone goes, well, you don't get paid. You put so much work in that. And I said, it's never going to help me with my career. And it is a ton of work, but I love it because I grow it. I'm growing and I meet interesting people. And that's another thing. always try to have mentors and people that you can learn from.
Mhm.
And I've had some great mentors in my life.
Wow. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. I see. Tony, you right after this. Karen she had a question here in the chat. I'm going to get to you, Tony, right after this. But Karen says, how did you build? Where did it go? How did you build? What did it say? Wait a minute. Okay. How did you build culture? And tell us what that looks like. Were the people on board, or was it difficult? Let me read
Culture
that.
for me is not done enough. I am very good at building culture. What I did is everybody was important. People that nobody even knew, they just put data entry or they put listings in the computer. No one even knew their name. Everybody became important. And what I did is everybody had a personal goal. So each person had a goal of whatever it was. And if you were a brand new person, obviously your goal would be less than somebody who was experienced. And then I had a company goal. And once every month, I'd have a meeting that you go online and you get like a live meeting, you tune in. And everybody had to contribute to the goal, even if your goal was tiny. And I learned a secret many, many years ago. People will work harder to not let the team down than they will for themselves.
For that. Okay. Tony, come on.
Hey, Dottie. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
You look as pretty as you did back 17 years ago when I was chasing you, trying to get you. When I was, by the way, Dottie is my like a client that from New York. Me and Dottie, I chased Dottie all over the world. Dottie is so hard for you to get to. She has people. I mean, before you finish talking to the gatekeepers that she has.
I don't have them anymore. I don't have them anymore.
I know it. I
used to have
I'm talking to you
gatekeepers.
now.
Nobody could get to me. Now everyone can get to
Nobody.
me.
No, that must have been when you got those loans for the millions and millions of dollars. Because I could not. Dottie was on my listen. Everything in New York with real estate had a picture of Dottie on it. Every book, every real estate book. And I said to myself, I've got to get her. But it took me to come, I'm talking 28 years to come to Florida to somehow get in touch with Dottie.
Well, you know something? I apologize for that. I don't think I would naturally ever have all those games. I'm just an open person. So I would talk to like I had a guy in New York City try to mug me and steal my stuff. And I went to the curb to sit down. I didn't want to give him money and stand in the street. I was afraid he was going to push me over. He came and sat next to me. The guy was homeless and was trying to rob me. And I said, you almost knocked me over. I said, you didn't have to do that. You could have hurt me. And he said, but I did. Well, I had a 10-minute conversation with the guy who tried to kill me almost. And he explained that that's how he makes money. And he said to me, Dottie, if I didn't try to rob you, would you have given me money? I said, no. He said, well, that's my answer. So I don't have any guards now. I had too many. And so, yeah.
Well, Dottie, how are you staying so young? The next show is going to be how the hell did you stay this young?
I didn't have plastic surgery. I can't even have that. So I have good genes.
I'm serious. Dottie, you don't look a year older than you did back then.
Oh, come on. I did.
Chase you around. I tried to get
thank you. Let me give you Dottie, a big mwah.
I'm giving you a big mwah.
Hey, we'll start this stuff on here.
Show. We have the
show. Dottie is my new friend.
What's next?
And I told you guys I would never bring junk to this show. I promised you that we're going to have class act. And Dottie is a class. You guys you don't know, but me and Dottie are like, she lives a town away from me in New York.
Yes, she is. Yes, she
And I mean,
is.
And we'll stay connected, I hope.
You better stay connected. I'm not leaving you now. I chased you all over the world. I can't do that. I can't do that now. But
Nope,
Floyd,
nope.
you should have known when she said Adelphi, because Floyd and I were born and raised in Huntington. And I know you're from Long Island as well.
Right,
Or
and
you
we had
lived
my
in
first
Long Island.
corporate office was on Huntington, 25A. And
Okay.
Huntington's a great place.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Mhm.
Definitely is. Definitely
Yeah.
is. It definitely is.
Dottie,
Listen.
where are you from? Are you from Long Island, correct?
I was born in Franklin Square, which is kind of close
New York.
to the Queens border. Yeah.
New York. Can't you guys tell this is a New Yorker? Listen to her voice. I'm so glad to hear your voice, because I've only been out here 3 months, and I'm, hey, it's rough
Where
out
are
here
you
in
guys?
Florida.
Are you in New York? Are you on Long Island? Where are you?
Long Island.
Right, Huntington.
That's where Huntington. Cloyd is from Huntington.
Well,
And the rest of these people who
Well,
are
I'm
from
in
there.
Florida now, and I'm leaving. I'm coming back to New York, and then I'm going to go out to the Hamptons, maybe for the weekend.
Well, we're in Florida now, though, Dottie.
Yes, I know, but I'm leaving Florida.
I know you are.
They all left.
You promised me you was coming to see the facility.
I know, but I'll be back. I rent this place.
Okay.
I built all these offices here. I promise.
Okay. That you guys heard that, right? And as soon as you
My
get back, you're
word, my word,
coming back
my
on
word.
the show. You're coming back on the show. As soon as you get back, and tell these people I'm back.
My word.
And that's on me. That's on me. You coming back, and you're not
If
paying
I
a
give you
quarter.
my word is good.
She gave her word, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dottie. Dottie, I'm going to ask you, there's some more questions. I told you before we started this that there's going to be questions. These people are going to want to know, like I do. So there's questions, and we can't do this in one show. We might not be able to do this in 3 shows, but we're gonna get to the bottom of your success and see. I want to see how I can take these jewels and apply it to me. See, because this is what it's about. This is what it's about. Even your book that you're writing, that's what it's about. What you went through, your experiences, how you thought in different instances, how you overcame it. So now, if I'm going through the same thing or something similar, wait a minute. This is what she did and was successful with it. Everything may not work for you, may not work for me, but some of it may work. It worked for you. It may work for me. So I want to know
about the people that work for you, making everybody's contribution matter, even if it's small.
Yes.
Because when people feel needed, when they feel like they're part of something, when they feel that you're counting on them, a lot of companies, especially big ones, like the people are numbers, they don't really count. And maybe just the top people, they know their names. I know everybody's name. I made everybody important. I don't care how little their job was. And I think that's one of the keys of being successful, of making people feel like they count and they matter and they're not a number. And I knew them all. And I did a lot of company things where I got people together, where they got, where we did some learning, and then maybe I'd have a dinner, or I'd have food, or we'd have a drink. Okay. And now people start to get to know each other outside of work. And, when you're running back and forth working, you don't have that time. And now people started knowing each other as people. And then I did a lot of team building things. I went to these places where you bring in people and they help build teams. Because it's really all about a team.
Well, this is some of the people.
Whether it's a big team or a small team. And then we did baseball games. I divided, I had Long Island against New York City. Okay. And we had a baseball league. Then I got other real estate companies to contribute. Then I got some girls to be cheerleaders. I wanted to tell the ones that really were a little too I let them off. But we had games. We would rivalry, and we had the city against Long Island. Guess who won? Long Island.
Yeah.
Dottie, here's a question. Here's a question that that's in the chat. I think Tony Curtis asked it, but I'm curious about this as well. And I was going to ask this question. Well, when you were building your companies, at any time did you want to give up?
Of course.
Yes. I was broke. I had no money. It was 2008. Okay. Nobody was getting paid. Vendors weren't paying. People weren't paying. And my loans were due, and Prudential was sending me, we're going to put you out of business. Your loan, you're in default. You're in default. And my father, I said, Dad, I can't do this anymore. And my father sent me something by Ann Landers that never quit, which I still have to this day. And then I found out where the corporate office of Prudential was, which was in Newark, New Jersey. I had never been there, nor do I want to go back. And I got a car service to drive me there. And I went crazy. I started crying. It wasn't fake. It was real. You're not taking my company away. I was screaming and crying. I don't think they knew what to do with me. They thought if I was a man, I don't know if I would have. But I was a woman that were like, all right, calm down, calm down, calm down. Okay, so then I'm crying and they go, all right. And what did they do? They forgave 45% of my loan.
Wow.
And refinance. And then they said, and after this, go find another bank. Don't count on us lending you the money anymore. And I did. But they forgave 45% of loan. And then, of course, I had phantom income. And I don't remember how the accountants figured all that out. But yes, Prudential forgave half of the loan.
Wow. Wow. There's a question here. I'm going to piggyback off the last question. I'm going to ask that question, then I'm going to ask a question we have, and then we're going to talk about on the side, Dottie, you coming back for show 2. If somebody want to get some more. Okay. This question piggybacks on the one that Tony asked, did you ever want to give up? Leah Amore says, when is it time to give some of the things up? Has it been a time, or when is it time to say?
Well, it killed me. In 2018, I thought I'd stay with this till I died. I might have let somebody take my place, but I got sick. I couldn't breathe. And I ended up with emphysema. And, and I couldn't breathe, and I was so sick, and I just had to step down. So once I stepped down, it was very hard for me. I think I almost had a breakdown because I loved it so much. It was my life.
So you're saying when it comes to health? Yeah.
Well, health is one thing. I mean, I think that, but what I did do is I always had successors. You see, I don't believe in a person being insecure people never hire people that are great. I learned from one of my mentors, Dottie, if you want to be successful, I learned this at Merrill Lynch, then you will hire people that are better than you. And insecure people don't do that because they're afraid, the person's going to be better. But I hired the best of the best, some of which was smarter than me. And that's how you build a great company. It's like the presidency. If you have all not good people around you, you're not going to be a great president. If you have great people around you, even if maybe you're not good. So I always had really good people around me. And when I got sick, but I was always having a plan because I think there's a time when it's time to, even if you still love it, do something else in the company. But I think there's a time when it's time to take the baton and give it to the next guy who's a little bit younger and give somebody else a chance.
Good answer. I like that. What did you say the name of this book was that you're writing? What's the name of it?
I didn't make a name for it yet.
Maybe we can help you with that.
Maybe you can.
You guys come up with a name for her book when we come back for show 2, and we'll just see what.
And I will come back for show 2. I promise.
Yes, we definitely gonna have you for show 2, and we'll come. You guys remember this. You come back for the panel for Miss Dottie Herman. Bring the name of what you think her book should
My
be
book
called.
should be, yes.
Yeah, what her book should be, and we'll go through them, and maybe she'll use one of them. Who knows? And let me ask you this, Dottie, before we go. What would you say to someone that wants to get into the business that you're in? What would you say to that person?
They want to get into the real estate business, so
Yes.
they get to run the real estate business.
Well, basically, ultimately,
I think it helped
running
me. I think it helped me that I knew the business and that I related to real estate people because I did it. I sold real estate. I knew what that was like. I worked for a major company and I watched Merrill. And I honestly want to tell you the truth. I copied their model. They were ahead of the times. They had a mortgage company, a title company. I copied their model and I always stayed on good terms and volunteered to help everything, even if it had no benefit to me. And those people gave it back. Prudential, Merrill, they all helped me. You know, they didn't have any reason to have to help me. But to this day, Larry Biederman and George Rathman, who ran Merrill, and Larry became the chairman of Merrill Lynch before he died, and while they were still Merrill Lynch. They were in the World Trade Center before it got blown up. And he invited me to a dinner in the Merrill Lynch building before it blew up with all his colleagues around him. He said, I'm going to retire. I want you to meet this girl. She ran Douglas Elliman. I don't care what business she wants to go into. If she needs money, I'm telling you, I'm retiring. You give it to her.
Oh.
You know, I always knew everybody and I always helped. I helped companies that weren't my companies. I didn't have anything to gain from it, but I helped. I always was a team. I'm a team player.
Well, would you say? Because as I'm picking this stuff up as you're going, would you say that it was what you know, but also in your case, it was also who you knew?
Well, I didn't know them before I got the job. I knew them because when everybody said, why would you go to this? The company isn't paying for it. Merrill was big on education and they had a lot of things. Most people said, well, if the company doesn't pay for it, we're not going. I didn't have a lot of money. I was a single mom. Okay. I went to everything. I was a sponge.
Yeah.
And I went to everything. And then I made sure when I was at everything that I made sure to go up and say hello and make with the right people. And I don't know if we have time, but I'll give you a quick example. When I was a regional manager, there was 4 or 5 of us. And Merrill decided we're going to downsize and we're only going to have 1. I was the youngest one with the least experience. I had no thoughts that it was going to be me.
Mm.
All of a sudden, the guy, we called him Hatchet Floyd because he hatched companies. He calls me, he says, well, you're it. And I said, well, I'd love to be flattered, but you never even met me. The man never even met me. And how did you pick me? He said, they took me out of retirement. They said to pick the best person for this Northeast region. I asked a bunch of people. They all said you. And I said, well, I'm glad you asked people that liked me. That's the truth. That's how I got that huge promotion. So be nice to people.
Yes.
Go the extra yard.
Yes.
Help out even if you're not getting paid. And if they have educational stuff, go to them.
Yes, ma'am. Listen, you are a smash hit on Let Your Voice Be Heard Talk Radio. And I'm going to show you why. I'm going to give you an example that you are a smash hit. Because there's people, Tony, you've already we said bring your names of the book next time. They already in there. They put names in there.
Oh, guys, I'm going to love you. I'll put your names in it.
Yeah, but we ain't getting ready to give it to you now. I'm going to give it to you next time. I'll make sure you come back.
Okay, that's a deal.
Give it to you next time.
I feel like we're family.
Yes, we are.
Talked
Yes,
so
we
many
are.
times, I feel like we're family.
Yes, we are. Tony, go ahead. Go ahead before we go.
Okay, I'm holding Dottie to this. We're getting the book. We're going to advertise the book first. That book is coming on Let your voice be heard.
Yes.
Me and Dottie already agreed that she was coming to the studio. So the people that's on here that work with me, that's Dottie, the one I've been telling you about. She's coming to us.
And I gave you my word.
She did. She did. And I let Dottie, I love you already. You know, me and Dottie hit it off.
We did.
We hit it off.
That's good.
I mean,
We did.
That's good. That's good.
I mean, we check up on each other. Check up.
Well, I'm not losing touch with you, so we'll keep in touch.
Better not. You got a family out here now.
Yes.
You got a family, and I can't wait.
I'm glad that I'm part of it.
And I'm glad you are too, because anybody on this phone or on this Zoom, it's a plague.
Yeah, the
Huh?
You broke up a little bit.
But listen, everyone, have a happy Memorial Day.
Listen.
And I'm sure I'm going to be speaking to you all again.
Listen, you will, Dottie. But for my panel, for everyone here, my panel, I love you guys, man. You guys are awesome. And we're gonna make sure that Dottie comes back. And you guys think about that book, Tony Curtis. You get 2 or 3. You're gonna get 2 or 3 names. I know you. And the rest of you guys think of a name for her book, what you think it should be, and we're gonna put it on it. Maybe she'll use it. I thank you guys. I love everyone here.
Yeah,
I love everyone here.
I'll try to get everyone's information. Thank you. I love you guys, and I feel like I'm part of your family.
I love you guys. I love you, Dottie. And you guys
have a great Memorial weekend.
Come back. You do the same. Come back the next time. It's your boy now.
Step in, lean in, mic on, and begin.
Let's dance, Dottie. New York.
Chewed up tongue.
Bye.
Clock keeps ticking on the wall, but your name's still missing from the roll call.
It started. I'm getting off. It's boy now. Look how the screen and stuff came back on.
Yeah. I don't know what he's doing.
Lazarus still not messing up.
Turn down songs.
Take that off of there, Laz.
Man, listen, them go.
Take that off of there, Laz.
We have to go.
Let your voice be heard. Say every single word.
Lazarus,
to the sky. Hands up high.
Laz, you messing up, bro.
Yeah, man. Lazarus freestyling.
Yeah,
he got cartoons and everything going on. No, he got cartoons
going on. Again. Come on, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, Lazarus. No. You doing too much.
Lean in.
No.
It's your boy now.
Yeah, what is he doing?
I don't know what he's doing, but I got a trick for him. He do this.
Recording stopped.